The borders that it describes here, it's a little hard for people today to figure out exactly where some of these places are, but part of the confusion that people have when reading this is they thought of directions a little bit differently than we do. So from the Hebrew perspective, Egypt was always south and Assyria was always north. Although technically Egypt was actually southwest and Assyria was northeast. So they say the Brook of Egypt is the southern border. It's really kind of on the side of Israel. It's not really south. This is only the land that they were marking out for the inheritance of this first wave of colonization or conquest. So the land that God had promised Abraham stretches from Damascus all the way down, possibly into Egypt. It's hard to say exactly where that goes because Abraham did go into Egypt, and then to the Euphrates River and way out in the wilderness to the east of the Jordan. And you see some people will put maps online with everything from the Nile River all the way to the Arabian Sea, and the Euphrates River is like greater Israel. That's not really realistic. That's not really what God said. Said from the Euphrates to the Brook of Egypt in this strip of land in between, not everything from the Nile River all the way to the Euphrates. And the Brook of Egypt isn't the Nile River either. It's a smaller seasonal river that flows through Sinai. But in different places, you find different boundaries marked. Here, the boundaries are only about this first invasion and dividing up the land for inheritance among the tribes. God told Abraham, wherever you set your foot, this is the land that I'm giving you and your descendants. There's another set of boundaries in the book of Joshua, and there's another one given in Ezekiel, and they're all a little bit different. And I think the largest one encompasses that entire stretch from the Brook of Egypt all the way up to the Euphrates and a bunch of territory. So that would be part of modern Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, and part of Egypt too, I think. Oh. But not that entire huge block of the Middle East. But Israel has never occupied that entire territory. So if God promised that, then we can be certain that he meant it. Israel will occupy that territory someday. But it hasn't happened yet. The closest they ever got was during the reign of David and Solomon. That was the largest Israel ever was. And that went all the way from the Euphrates to the Brook of Egypt, but it didn't go quite far enough on the north into Lebanon or far enough east into Jordan and Syria. So that's yet to come. Eschatology and what exactly is going to happen in the future is a huge, everybody has their own idea. Right. And I'm not stuck on any particular interpretation. I'm willing to be wrong. But what I believe right now is that Yeshua will return physically, set up his kingdom on earth, and establish permanent peace in the land of Israel, at least for that millennium. Then at the end of that millennium, then there's the big war of Armageddon and the final battle between good and evil, and then God destroys heaven and earth and recreates it. But in the meantime, Israel will occupy that entire promised territory, and Israel will include not just the native born of Israel, the natural descendants of Jacob, but all of those who have submitted to the king of Israel and keep his Sabbath. And I get that from Isaiah 56, where it talks about the Gentile who has joined himself to Israel and keeps Yahweh's Sabbath. He should not consider himself separate from the people of Israel. And then Ezekiel 47, he tells Israel, when I bring you back to the land and I restore you, then all of those Gentiles who have submitted themselves to me and keep my Sabbath, you will consider them as native-born Israelites and give them an inheritance in the land right alongside you. So someday, I believe that will literally happen.
What scripture is that?
That's Ezekiel 47. Isaiah 56 and Ezekiel 47. Let me verify the Isaiah 56. Ezekiel 47, I'm certain of. But yeah, salvation for foreigners. Let not the foreigner who has joined himself to Yahweh say, Yahweh will surely separate me from his people, and let not the eunuch say, behold, I am a dry tree. For thus says Yahweh, to the eunuchs who keep my Sabbaths, who choose the things that please me and hold fast to my covenant, I will give in my house and within my walls a monument and a name better than sons and daughters. I will give them an everlasting name that shall not be cut off. And the foreigners who join themselves to Yahweh to minister to him, to love the name of Yahweh and to be his servants, everyone who keeps the Sabbath and does not profane it and holds fast my covenant. These I will bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in the house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices will be accepted on my altar, for my house shall be called a house of prayer for all peoples. And it ends with Adonai Yahweh, who gathers the outcasts of Israel, declares, I will gather yet others to him besides those already gathered. And I think that refers to those Gentiles who were drafted in. And I also think that's what Yeshua was talking about when he said that, I have sheep of another fold. I think that's what he was talking about, those others from the nations that would be gathered in